on there. I don't want to say stuff like Chuck when I'm with you. Like,
hey, Mr. Jesse, let me say something. That's always good to see you, sir.
hey,
I'm always on the go, but
I'm trying to identify. I wear several hats.
that smile on your face.
Hey y'all, we get ready to start our next session. We have Sherrie Aaron from District 3 with us. We're going to do an interview type style session and then also allow for the audience to get some questions in real quick. So as we get situated and get seated, go ahead and make sure you share, like with friends. So we're going to learn about Sherrie Aaron from District 3.
so again, good morning and welcome everybody. We are excited for everybody who's here. We're excited for candidates who are running because we know it takes courage to step forward to sit on the city council and be an elected official in Columbus. So yeah, this is a great opportunity for the citizens to directly hear from the candidates about their vision for the city and what they see, foresee the city looking like moving forward and what their vision is going to be for our city. So without further ado, we'll let you introduce yourself, give a brief introduction, and then we'll go from there.
Very nice. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Listen, it's beautiful outside. I just came from visiting the mall. We had a Women's Empowerment March there, so that was really great. I met a lot of great neighbors. My name is Sherrie Aaron. I'm running for City Council District number 3. I'm born and raised in Oakland, California, but I'm military. Got here by way of military.
Oaktown.
Started a few businesses here. Got involved heavily into the community here, raised my children here. I lived in District 3 for over 18 years. I absolutely love Columbus. We are the second largest city in the state of Georgia. And I just love being here and I'm excited to serve, continue serving. I'm a servant leader. Listen, I've always been in the community and I absolutely love everything about community and helping people.
Okay. So we'll start real quick with just why you, if you would explain to the citizens, why you.
Very nice. So, being military, and before I got here, everyone would tell me do not live below exit 6. All the time they would say that. So what did I do? I moved below exit 6. And I've been there for 18 years and there's a lot of development that needs to happen in our district. A lot of development, okay. People from the military often would tell me don't live below exit 6 because there's not very much going on, okay? So I'm sorry, you guys, listen, let me start over. The reality is this, I've been out all morning, I'm out every day in the neighborhood, okay? I want to run for city council because I know that District 3 can look better and it can feel better. I'm not going to once every single day, okay? People are telling me things that they want to see in our district, and let me tell you, I'm going to do the work. I've always done the work. So when it comes to, why me, why not me, I'm the best person for the job. I'm in the streets every day. I'm talking to people, and I want to be at the table to help make decisions. It's not fair that there's certain restaurants, nearly all of them, I have to pass several exits to get to. Even when I want coffee, there's a coffee that I frequent all the time. That's on 6, 7, 8, and 10. We don't even have places for coffee, Even small businesses, giving them tax incentives as well to start businesses on the south side. So economic development, I have children that are in high school and creating a hub of transportation to get them to jobs because they broke. We have to talking to the kids. The kids are like, we want to make some money, okay? But they don't have transportation to get there. So creating a hub for our children to be able to go to jobs, go to school, even to our colleges here, being able to get there. It's not that they do not want to do it. The reality is they do not have the resources to do it. So understanding how everything works, how systems work, getting involved and making stuff happen. And if it can happen, I need to know why it can't happen. So building relationships with everyone in government, everyone, all the top leadership here and see how we can work together and partner to make District 3 look great, because once our district looks great, the entire city of Columbus looks great.
Absolutely. Now, I have a specific question
Absolutely.
from a District 3 rep in your community regarding public safety and police accountability. I'm going to read what was sent to me, okay? A concerned resident recently shared an experience where police were called during a neighborhood disturbance. The responding officer reportedly stated that because no crime had been committed, nothing could be done. When the resident questioned why personal information was being requested, the officer allegedly responded that the resident should not call the police again because they would not respond the next time. So basically they asked for birthday, they asked for phone numbers, things of that nature. And when a supervisor arrived, because the young lady asked for the supervisor when she received this type of feedback, it was discovered that the officer's body camera was not activated. So as a community leader, citizens expect professionalism, accountability, and transparency from law enforcement. The question is what policies, training, or oversight measures would you support to ensure officers communicate respectfully with residents, properly use their body cameras, and never discourage citizens from seeking assistance when they feel unsafe?
Oh, wow. So that's very unfortunate that happened to her. So I do understand law enforcement, they do have a job to do, so they'll come out and they will gather your information. Now, as far as the body cam footage, the recording not being on, that's unacceptable. So as a city council person, I will partner with public safety, with the police department chief, also with the sheriff chief, to ensure that they're keeping those body cameras on for accountability purposes. So it's almost impossible to know what she said versus what he said if we don't have that. They're there for a reason. Those body cameras are installed for a reason. So that's very unfortunate that happened to her. And it starts with training, and building morale in the public safety department. Because a lot of officers that I've met, the morale is a little bit low. They're not paid adequately. So as a city council person, I will fight for, higher wages, for our law enforcement, so that we all can feel safe and they can be happy about going to work, because you get happy when you make a little extra money. You know what I mean? Your patience, your tolerance is a little bit more, elevated when you have a better income.
Okay. So, do we have any questions in the audience? Because this is going to be a short session. She is in the community, literally, and she is doing things every day. And I'm just going to say, I can speak to what she said here as being true. I've known Sherrie for over 20 years as a veteran myself. And I'm grateful that she's running, and I know that when she says something, she means it. And I know also from experience. So I don't have a lot of questions because I know, but do you all have some questions? Does anybody out here would like to statement or question?
Yes.
I don't need to turn it.
Well, we want to make sure we can hear it.
Yes, ma'am. So I lived in Columbus for over 35 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what you just said about them telling you at the base not to live, my grandson, who is a West Point graduate, just moved here. He was told the same thing.
They tell us that.
And that's 30 years later. You understand? But the sad part about it is, okay, you said, it may be the restaurants or whatever, but that's not the real reason they tell them that. They tell them that because of crime.
That is correct.
And I explained to my grandsons, I'm going to take you around this city, and I'm going to show you where black folks live. We have professionals here. All of every neighborhood has issues.
They do.
But what you said, that's still happening right now.
Well, so let me say this. We have a great retirement community as well in District Number 3. We have a lot of people that have been there for several years that are vested and rooted in that community, and they're great people and they have wonderful careers. But one thing I do want to touch on as far as crime prevention is speaking to law enforcement, understanding that a lot of the guns that are used in heinous crimes are stolen out of people's cars. So we need to do a slightly better job of just taking our guns out of our cars so we don't give them the ammunition they need when they're out committing those crimes.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Glad to hear you this morning.
I'm glad to be here.
My name is Richard Jesse.
Yes.
You remember that name.
Okay.
District 3, help me here. Is that the Casino Road?
It is. We have a very large district.
Okay. I'm the director of the Friends of Historic Claflin. Claflin School was restored in 2018, 2020, and we have a mission to help restore church and social order. And one of our main initiatives now is we adopted the 31903 zip code. And how would you help us to get businesses in Columbus to pay their employees a livable wage? All of them. I'm talking about whatever they do. I'm a business person, and no matter what somebody does for me, I pay them a livable wage.
Absolutely.
So, and that's one of the main things that we can do. And I'll be talking to you when you get on council about engaging the citizens in that area. The president of United Way made a statement, and I met with him. He said, until we do something about 31903, Columbus is not going to grow. And I just want you to chew on what that means. And there's a lot of work going on in Columbus to make that area better. But I would just like to hear, how would you engage your constituents to help them want to do better?
Absolutely. So I'm glad you asked me that. So here's the reality. I can answer part of the question. The other part of the question, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research. Okay. I'm not as sure my role as counsel how I can enforce a small business to increase their wages.
You can't.
I cannot. I definitely can encourage them. But what I'm afraid of, and I'll just be very transparent, is once we start, because our minimum wage in Georgia is very low. Okay? It is very low. But I do understand that not very many people make the $5.75, right?
But they cannot pay less than.
They cannot. No, you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So what I'm afraid of is they start increasing minimum wages, then the cost of living will go up and will essentially be in the same situation that we are right now as far as people trying to decide if they're going to pay for their medication or pay their light bill. And that's very true. And I was watching a funeral service yesterday, and one of the pastors said that people are, how do they pay for the medication and also pay their light. That is something very true. As I'm knocking on doors, they are saying this. So I'm trying to understand and figure out ways that we can give tax incentives to businesses to come to our district, to hire people, because we can't even increase wages if folks don't have a job to get the wage increase on. So job development, things like that. I'm working on it. I'm working on a plan, trying to figure out what can I do on city council. But I have great relationships with business owners. I'm out all the time. I have a lot of friends who own businesses, and they pay decent wages. But listen, a livable wage in Columbus, Georgia is nearly $18 an hour. So they're comfortable.
It starts at 13, but let me just say this to you. When you're investigating, when you're doing your research, research the states that voluntarily start paying their employees a livable wage.
Absolutely.
And they're doing great. But they have been doing great since they made that decision. And we have got to get people to understand, in America, we say people can really work to reach their potential.
Correct.
And one of the things that's holding people back is this economic caste system that we have. And you can do some research on that.
Okay.
So, in Columbus, this is my last statement, when the slaves were freed in Columbus, 1865, the former slave owners said, we got to figure out a way to keep them in their place. And you can track every decade what was done to keep us in our place. And this is part of this last statement. When we were restoring Claflin School, nobody thought that we were going to be able to do it. They wanted to tear this historic site down. We went to council right before we got the last adjustment to the lease agreement. We have a 65-year lease agreement with the city for that property. Pay $1 a her ear. And one of the counselors asked the mayor, we told them that I had talked to the National Park Service, who is in charge of historic sites. One of the counselors, and when you're on council, I hope I get a chance to answer this question. One of the counselors asked the mayor, who told Richard Jensen he could talk to the National Park Service?
Oh, wow.
And the mayor would not let me say anything at the end of the meeting. So at some point, I'll be coming back to council to answer that question for them. But that's a mentality, ma'am, that we have got to overcome.
Yes. Absolutely.
You know, and that mindset, we can overcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, we appreciate that, Mr. Jesse.
Absolutely.
So I got two questions for you.
Okay.
So my first one is, if there's a decision, if you're a city council member and there's a decision that's unpopular, how would you be willing to answer or let me make sure I got this right. So if there's a decision you expect to be unpopular, would you still be willing to support that decision? That's my first question.
So if there's a decision that's unpopular,
Right.
so first off, let me say this, I am my own person.
Okay.
I have my own mind, and my goal is to ensure that District 3 is taken care of. So that's my reality. So whether it's a popular or unpopular, I'm gonna always do what's in the best interest of my constituents.
Okay. Okay. My second question is, with you having a platform that you're potentially gonna have being on city council, and what you do with Rock and Roses. Shout out to everybody who was there. We were there. If you don't know about Rock and Roses, you need to make sure you get with Sherrie so she can, explain that to you. But
Absolutely.
how would you use Rock and Roses to engage the youth? Like, we have a lot of issues when we talk about the youth that are like out of control or don't have direction or don't have things to do. How would you use Rock and Roses to help the youth in Columbus, to give them something to do, to keep them engaged, to keep them off the streets?
Very nice. So Rock and Roses is a hair barber battle that I do every year. I just celebrated my 12th year anniversary. So we're already doing that. So with our barbers and with our stylists, they employ several young persons to be a part of it. I'll go a step further in. All of my students that are in cosmetology programs at the different high schools, I allow them to come for free. They can come for free, they can volunteer, they can partner with the stylist and barber, they can shadow us, they have full access to the entire day. My students here that are in college, I'm charging a little bit of money, so I charge them roughly $10, right? And my tickets are sometimes $50, but I give them I charge them a very little amount so they can be there. Now here's the thing, if they do not have it, they don't have to pay. They don't have to pay, okay? So I already have a lot of children coming. I love the youth. So having them a part of my event makes me really excited because I give them something to do and something to be proud of. So with Rock and Rolls, we'll continue to invite the youth out. We'll continue to have them a part of the event. If you've ever been to the event, youth are all over the stage. They're learning about entrepreneurship. They're running the tables. They're greeters. They're working concessions. We have them heavily involved, in our programs.
Okay, very good. Back to the unpopular decisions,
Okay.
Right now on the table for city council, we know that data centers, they're not popular for the citizens. However, we went to the PAC meeting, they tabled a decision to use the land or make the land okay for a data center. Many people are concerned about what they've learned as it regards research, as it regards it being in their backyard, and they're really concerned. Like, for instance, I said, well, I've heard all I need to know about data centers. Well, it's in my backyard. And so it's separating citizens to that extent, and they're really afraid.
They are.
As a city council representative, your District 3 and the data center may not affect your...
Oh, it does though.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Say it does not affect your constituents. This lends to how they may vote for you, but your decision affects all the other counselors and all the other citizens in the city. So how do you speak to that type of decision?
So what I would say is, although I have not yet been elected, I'm heavily involved. So I'm at all the meetings and I'm listening, I'm taking in information, I'm talking to my neighbors, they're telling me their concerns. Their number two concern is my light bill gonna go up, is my water bill gonna go up. I think the biggest issue for me sitting in the meetings, there's not full transparency when it comes to the data centers. I believe that if they would be fully transparent, the pros and the cons, that came up yesterday. We hear all the pros, but we don't hear any of the cons. So I believe that they will be full transparency. They may could get people to really be for it, because what I heard was my water bill is not going to go up, my light bill is not going to go up. It's going to bring $69 million a year in tax revenue to the city. Those all sound amazing. They sound so great. But give me some flip side to it. Tell me some cons about it. So the reality is, I'm not for data centers right now, and I'm not against data centers right now. I want to learn more about data centers and how they truly impact my constituents. Really everyone, because the reality is 30 years later, we don't need us to have cancer and things like that, because we don't know what the data centers are putting out. So just having full transparency about it. And then we can have the conversation again, once we have all the facts.
So I understand that, having all the facts, but based on what your constituents, how would you make sure they had a clarity or understanding based on, because that's what your vote would reflect.
It would.
So if there's knowing all the facts and saying, hey, I still feel like my water bill is going to be high, I still feel like my electric bill is going to be high, are you going to vote in the conscience of your constituents, or are you going to vote because city council wants you?
No, I'm going to vote for my constituents. If they say, if I'm out here with them and they're telling me no, the answer is no. The answer is no. But as of right now, again, they haven't made a decision either way.
Right.
Will someone please say something? What are the data centers? I've been hearing about this and I have no idea what it entails. Please.
So I cannot answer that question in full transparency, because I'm learning about them as well. In my brain, there really is about 4 buildings that go up, and a lot of energy is produced through them and water flows through them. So that's the information that I have about them. I'm learning more about them every day, asking more questions, trying to understand exactly what it is they do. But there's so much out there, and one of the things they said yesterday, which I didn't 100% agree with, is do your research. Well, I'm researching and I still don't understand, so I'm gonna have it soon. I'm gonna have it soon.
Now, do you know?
Yes, ma'am. So we've shared a lot of information on social media, and we will talk with you offline on this, because this session is short, and so we got about 3 more minutes. Is there anything else you would like for District 3 to know, and anyone sitting here to know about why we should vote for you?
Absolutely. You should definitely vote for me, because I'm not just talking. I'm outside every day. I'm in the communities. I'm doing things already. I'm going to continue to do things. I'm going to continue to hold forums. I'm going to continue to be accessible. And I'm going to be your voice. I'm going to be the person you can call. I'm going to answer my phone or my email or my text. I'm going to be accessible, available, and I'm going to fight for you. You are going to push my agenda. Whatever it is that you think should be the priority, that is what the priority is going to be. I really want you all to be able to say, she did exactly what she said she was going to do. And that is my plan, to do everything that I said I'm going to do and to fight for you in my district.
Okay, before we close out, one last question for you. So, we're all familiar with the termination of the former city manager, Mr. Isaiah Higley. So my question is, how would you handle a situation where public outcry conflicts with city staff recommendations? So, essentially, with that situation that happened, how would you handle that?
So I'm not going to speak specifically about that particular situation. But what I will say is, I'm all about being fair and being transparent and doing what's in the best interest of my constituents and even the city. Was it in the best interest for the outcome to be what that was? You know what, I'm going to answer your question. So the reality is, if I were in city council, I would not have voted to terminate him. He was already going to retire, from my understanding. So my reality is this. I don't do very well with backdoor deals or conversations. I'm very, very, very transparent, okay? So I don't agree with the firing of him at all in the way it happened. I don't agree with it. So I would not have voted to terminate him. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but that's my truth and my reality.
And so it's not about offense, but it's about systems and professionalism across the board, and how George and I discussed it, it could be anybody's name or head that needed to roll. But in this instance, we have a city council that does not even, or a city that does not even do evaluations. And you know, in the Army, like I know, that you have to do paperwork.
You do.
Before you can just chapter someone out or kick them out of the military.
Correct.
And so I feel like the council has caused a lot of confusion for the citizens. And specifically, we had the gentleman stand before us and tell us they've had 35
I was going to say that. That's
clean financial reporting. And of course, they've been the consultants all this time.
Correct.
So it's how do you go from 35 years of clean to, we got 45 million, we got 26 million, we're confused. And it's not so much that it's the citizens doing, it's the city council's communication in meetings. So how do you make sure that your constituents are clear and we can trust what's being said and done in the city council meetings?
For me, it's being transparent, even after the meetings, having conversations, creating a forum to where they can ask me questions, I can let them know what's really going on, not really sugarcoating things, just telling them what's going on. But I want to touch on that 35 years for 1 second. So I never comment on, certain things. I just kind of not really keep to myself, but focus on my race and what I'm doing in my communities, right? But there's a lot, I get asked that question so often because I live in district number 3. And just about every person that I speak to, they're voting that way, and they want to know how do I feel about it. So the reality, I don't go into too many details. However, what I will say is, sitting in that city council meeting, learning that he had 35 years of excellence in finance, and for what I know, prior to running for city council, just a constituent in district number 3, I was always under the impression that he was terminated for the financial reason through city council. That's what I was very confused. So again, full transparency with me, I'm gonna always do what's in the best interest of my constituents all the time.
And real quick, and you can close us out with that.
Okay.
We know you have to
Okay.
leave, so if there's anything else you want to add to it before we close out this session, feel free.
What I will say is, regardless of who our next mayor is, whoever our next city council person is, I'm gonna work with whoever it is who's elected. That's just the reality of the situation.
That's professionalism.
Very nice. Thank you all for having, listen,
No problem.
Natalie and Dr. Natalie and Mr. George, they are pillars in the community. They do so much. They give scholarships. We may not always like the things that they post, but I don't know if they've ever been wrong. I don't know if they've ever been wrong about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You may not like what I say, but that don't make me wrong, right? So sometimes when I say things and do things, I be like, what she gonna say? I be cringing just
I've known her for over 20 years.
And I still be nervous. But the reality is, I'm always going to do what's in the best interest of my constituents. I'm always going to be outside with them. If they ever need anything, if I cannot personally provide it, I'm going to connect the dots. Give them resources to be able to get things done, and then within their homes, and then within our community, ensuring our streets get cleaned up, and we get our kids some stuff to do after school on the weekend, some jobs, get some businesses to, get some children out there maybe cutting some bread. Building a stronger community is the reality of what I'm trying to bring to city council. So thank you all for having me. I appreciate it, guys.
We appreciate it. For the rest of the day. Thank everybody for your questions. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. On to the next.
On to the next.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting started next with and we will see you all in a moment.